everybody, my name is Baby Tobar, and for my Organisms Ecosystem Lab assignment for the UWIN video presentation, I will be speaking about the ecologic community at Verbena Park. Verbena Park is located on the corner of 11th and Verbena Street. It is just south of Colfax in the Lowry housing community in Denver. It is also owned by the City of Denver and run by the Parks and Recreation Center of Denver. The park is just shy of 8 acres large and is surrounded by honey locust trees and Austrian pine along the perimeter of the park. As seen below in the pictures, they're very matured trees that can host a lot of different animals. Verbena Park is not only just surrounded by trees, it has a lot of other usages in the park, including a playground, basketball, softball field, and soccer field. The red dot indicates where my UWIN camera is set up for wildlife research. The reliability of these cameras compared to other parks are significantly lower. It's just about a 50% reliability on them. A lot of this is due to cameras being knocked over, incorrect dates, and stolen cameras. As you can see right here, in January 2019, we had no data due to the camera being stolen. And a lot of the other times the cameras were just knocked over by human and domestic animals. UWIN cameras are usually supposed to be deployed for about 30 days once every season. Even in the reliable informations, we only have about 20 numbers of days in January 2018 and even longer at 34 days in October of 2019. These are some examples of why the camera deployment is unreliable. In the top left corner, we have a reliable shot, how it was supposed to be set up to capture the wildlife. Below that is an unreliable example of it getting knocked over, looks like by a human hand. This happens a lot during camera deployments, and we hope that the camera stoppage timer usually will not get that, because between every picture it's about a few seconds to minutes in between each picture taken, but it looks like in that picture the hand was caught. On the right side of the PowerPoint, we have incorrect dates. The picture with the green grass was supposed to be taken in October of 2018 for the first day, and it was documented in April because of the clock, the internal clock on the camera. The incorrect date below that was supposed to be the last day of October 2018, and I believe it said it was taken in May. Unless there's that much snow in May, I doubt that one was correct as well. Species present at Verbena Park, we had fox squirrel, raccoons, and human and domestic animals. We have a picture of the fox squirrel, which tends to come out more in midday between 6 a.m. and 2 o'clock. You can see the little fox squirrel right there. Raccoons typically only come out at night, and that's our favorite raccoon right there, Frank the Tank. We have human domestic animals. Since they were a little bit harder to see, I circled them with the red marker. They're a lot more common throughout the day, probably nighttime strolls with their dogs, but they're typically mostly seen at 2 p.m. as well. Fox squirrel observations throughout the day. Like I said, they do tend to come out when the sun is at the highest point. They are also our most observed animal, so we have a lot more data on them, so these are a lot more accurate than the next species that we see in our presentation. Fox squirrel percent daily use. For being such a small park at only 8 acres large, Verbena Park is in the 50th percentile for that, which is significant because, again, we are such a smaller park than a lot of these other locations, UWIN locations. So that just goes to show that fox squirrels are very prominent in Verbena Park. Next to the timing of raccoon observation, they only come out at night. We have a midnight and a 10 o'clock raccoon. We did not get them at every season. This could just be for different reasons, such as the bait wasn't to the raccoon. Raccoons tend to be in more urban areas than parks. Community ecology at Verbena Park. So on the left we have the species richness, and this shows that because we only have 3 species, this is including the human and domestic animals, Verbena Park is lower on that spectrum compared to other UWIN locations. The Simpson Diversity Index explains the odds of picking 2 random samples that are the same species, and since we only have 3 species documented, the Simpson Diversity Index for Verbena Park is significantly higher. In conclusion, Verbena Park, being owned by the City of Denver, shows a ecological activity of species that are high during the day. This is due to the fox squirrels, of course, who love the honey locust trees and the Austrian pine. The raccoons, who are mostly seen in urban and suburban areas, do come out occasionally at night at Verbena Park, and human and domestic animals are very sporadic throughout the day. Compared to other UWIN locations, our species richness is only 3, so it is relatively low, but our Simpson diversity chart, which means the odds of having 2 of the same species from a random selection are higher, shows that our concentration in fox squirrels, again, is very high compared to other UWIN locations. Other than that, that is all I have for Verbena Park.